Okay, here we are, multiplication and division with rational expressions. Just as a quick little reminder, okay, remember whenever you have a rational expression, remember, rational is just a fraction, okay? So we're going to go back to we're going to be multiplying and dividing fractions. Yes, they're going to be expressions, but the rules still stay the same. So when you have a fraction of p over q, and you're going to multiply that by, like, say, a over b, that literally just equals a p over b q, okay? Because you've multiplied those two together. You multiply straight across, okay? When we get over here and get ready to start dividing, if we're going to do p divided by q, okay? P over q divided by, let's write it correctly, Bob. Draw of a over b. Well, remember, that's p over q still multiplied, but we're going to take the reciprocal of that guy, of b over a, which is still going to equal bp over a q. So that's going to still be the process. The same rules that you used to use to multiply fractions and divide fractions, same rules. These are still fractions. We treat them the same way. Can't equal 0 on the bottom. So okay, that's can look over that. There's some little example there, and then we'll do this little example underneath it here before we get into some homework examples. Notice what they did here is this is the original equation, okay? They end up going here. They're reducing out things. They did have to factor this here. Okay, start reducing things out. This is what they eventually get. These are the restrictions, okay? Notice these restrictions are still accounting for all of these right here, okay? You have to account for every little thing in there still, okay? You can't just suddenly go, oh, well, I reduced it out. It's no longer a restriction. No, it's still a restriction, even though it's not there anymore. Let's go down here now, and we will... Let's do an example. Let's draw. All right. Here we're going to reduce. Okay, we'll leave the big ones here in just a little bit. All right, let me write this a little bit bigger so you can kind of see the reducing process. You're going to have 5x squared y all over 9xy to the third multiplied by 6x to the third y squared all over 15xy to the fourth. Okay, first things first, don't forget you can cross reduce. Okay, you don't have to just reduce up and down. Since we're multiplying, we can go, can't go side to side, but we can go from bottom up, bottom down. Okay, kind of look like this. Okay, that's how it looks. That's what cross reducing looks like. I say that because look, the 5 and the 9, they will not reduce, but this 5 and 15 will. We can reduce this 5 to a 1, this 15 to a 3. This 6, okay, it can go to a 2. This 9 can go to a 3. Now it's truly up to you what you want to do next. Okay, I'm going to look around here and I'm going to notice that, look, I have an x on the bottom, I have 2 x's on top. This is x to the power of 1. So I'm going to subtract off 1. This guy's going to be gone. Okay, here I've got a 1x on the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to subtract off 1. That's going to get rid of that x. Okay, here I have a 3, it's going to be small on top, so it really doesn't matter what I do here. Okay, it's going to work out the same. So here I've got a 3, here I've got a 1. Well, I've still got to subtract, so I've got 1 minus 3. That means this guy's gone 4 right now. Here I have a 4, here I have a 2, so it's going to be 2 minus 4. Now this guy's gone. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rewrite. I've still got the 3 and the 3 on the bottom, okay? I'm not going to start combining those just yet, okay? So, let's draw again. And we've got what? We've got x2 minus 1, so I'm going to have an x, because I'm not going to worry about that 1. Then I've got 1 minus 3, which is going to give me a negative 2, all over. Everything's going here on the bottom except for the 3. Multiplied by, well, I've got a 2 here. 3 minus 1 is going to give me an x squared. Y, I've got 2 minus 4, which is going to give me a negative 2. So y minus 2. And then on the bottom here, I've got a 3. Okay. When you have a, let's see here, negative power. Negative powers mean we drop this guy back down. Okay. So when I do this, okay, notice I can go ahead and simplify this a little bit. I've got x times x, which is going to end up being x, that's a 1, that's a 2, 1 plus 2, okay, there's a 2 there, all over, well, I've got this 3 here, I've got 3 times 3, that's going to be 9, and then I'm going to have this y squared that has dropped down, which is y, 2 plus 2, so my final answer for this is going to be 2 x to the third, all over 9y to the fourth. All right, let's continue on. Let's go down here to division now. All right, gives us now a nice little remembering about division. Let's kind of just get this right about there. All right, first things first, let's go ahead and rewrite. So let's take this and rewrite this as 12 x squared y divided by 10 xy squared. Remember, this is division, so what we're going to do is turn this into a multiplication statement, and I'm going to take the reciprocal of this. Remember, this just means flip your second term. This is your first term, this is your second term. So I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to have x y to the third all over 3x to the fourth y. I'm going to show you how to do this a different way this time, which it's, like I said, it's really up to you. The first things first though, I would at least, with these coefficients, go ahead and simplify those as much as possible. So if you will notice this, let's go ahead and just do a cross one real quick here. And the 12 is going to reduce down to, let me turn this to red. 12 is going to reduce down to a 4. This is going to reduce down to a 1. Notice I can still reduce this 4 and a 10, which is going to become a 2 and a 5. Okay, let's put all this together. And there is a reason for this. It's going to make the simplification look a lot nicer. Makes it look a lot nicer than what I did in your actual notes, but it still works. So let's go back here. Notice I'm going to have a 2. Okay, I'm going to have an x squared multiplied by x. That's going to be x squared plus 1, because that is a power of 1 there. Then I'm going to have a y, 1 plus 3, all over, well, I've got a 5 times 1, which is just 5. Then I have x, 1 plus 4, because remember, this is a power of 1. Y squared plus 1, okay, because that's a power of 1. Okay, let's simplify this even more. Notice this is going to get us down to where everything's under a numerator and a denominator. So I'm going to have 2x to the third, y to the fourth, all over 5x to the fifth, y to the third. Okay, let's start reducing from here. Same as before. I've got a 3 here, I've got a 4, so I'm going to subtract the 3. Got a 5, I'm going to subtract the 5. That's going to get rid of all this on the bottom. Okay, continuing on, I'm going to end up having 2 fifths all over x to the negative 2, y. Well, remember, when you have a negative 2 as a power, it's going to drop that to the bottom. So my final answer for this one is going to be 2y all over 5x squared. Notice combining first before you start trying to simplify helps out a whole bunch. Makes it a little bit cleaner, but do whatever you want.